The sun scorched Dry Hollow until every board, every stone seemed ready to burst into flame. At the center of town, a young Apache woman stood on the auction block, wrists bound tight, blood crusting at the corner of her mouth. She faced the crowd with a stare cold and proud. Aye. Men laughed, dry, mean laughter that matched the wind. Won't last a week on a ranch, one said. Yea, sell her for a cigar. Another barked. Coins clinked. A bottle was waved as a bid. The auctioneer grinned. She's wild but breathing. Who'll start? A voice cut through the noise. $2. Laughter exploded. $2 was barely the price of a pair of boots. Through the dust stepped Robert Vance, the town blacksmith. His coat was gray with ash, his face hard beneath the brim of his hat. He laid 2 silver coins on the table. "I'm not buying her," he said. "I'm just buying your mercy." He cut her ropes. The woman met his gaze. "You'll regret this," she said coldly. "I've regretted worse," he replied. "Not today." That night the forge burned low. The girl, her name was Kanti, he learned, sat outside wrapped in a blanket. Her wrists were raw from rope, her eyes sharp as flint. Why did you do it?" she asked. Robert kept hammering. Because someone had to. You think $2 buys back what they took?" The hammer paused midair. "No," he said, "but it stops one more wound." Outside, the wind carried a strange smell, smoke but not from his forge. He stepped out to see the barn blazing, horses screaming in the corral. He ran for water, shouting for help. No one came. When the fire died, nothing remained but ash and twisted iron. "I know who did this," Kanti said, her voice steady. "Densely, the one who bought and sold us." Robert turned toward the smoke. "Yeah, I rode with him once," he said quietly. By dawn, they were gone, riding out of Dry Hollow with the barn smoke still clinging to the wind. For hours, they rode through the wasteland, dust, mesquite, and the endless blue of desert sky. "You didn't have to bring me," Kanti said. "I didn't," he replied. "You followed. Will you think I trust you? I don't need you to." Silence stretched until she spoke again. "Odinsley burned my village, sold my people. Were you one of them?" Robert said nothing. His silence was answer enough. At dusk, they camped beneath dead cottonwoods. Kanti sharpened a piece of metal into a blade. When sparks from the fire rose, she flinched. "You've seen too many fires," Robert said. "So have you." Neither spoke again. The wind moaned through the branches like ghosts. Before dawn, hooves thundered on the ridge. Dinsley's men. Robert fired once, hitting a torch. The riders scattered into the dark, but not before a bullet grazed his arm. Kanti tore a strip from her skirt and pressed it to the wound, crushing cactus sap between her palms to stop the bleeding. "You've done this before," he said through clenched teeth. "For others," she said. "Not for men like you." Later, as fever burned through him, he whispered in delirium, words she wasn't meant to hear. "I burned it, the camp, children inside." She froze. By morning, when his fever broke, she was sitting nearby, knife across her knees. "You heard?" he asked. "I did." "Then why am I still breathing?" Her voice was calm. "Because mercy isn't obedience, and hate doesn't feed the thirsty." Days blurred together, dusk by day, cold by night. An uneasy rhythm grew between them. Robert moved like a man carrying the weight of his own shadow. Kanti, quick and fierce, never looked away from the horizon. One afternoon, she watched him mend a horseshoe. "You work like you're praying," she said. "Maybe I am." "Not sure he listens anymore." "Then you understand the gods I know," she said softly. That night, by a trickling arroyo, she asked, "You could have left me." "I tried," he said. Rain shimmered off the rocks. "You could have killed him," Robert said. "I know." "Why didn't you?" Because hate is easy," she said. "And I'm done being easy." He smiled faintly. "You're stronger than I ever was." "No," she said. "You just stopped running." Weeks later, the desert gave way to pine and mountain air. Wildflowers bloomed through cracked trails. They reached a small mission hidden in fog. An old woman tended its garden, silver-haired, one eye clouded. When Kanti called out, the woman turned, her voice trembling. The girl froze, then stepped forward. The woman's hands touched her face. It said, "None survived." But I knew, the sun does not die. Kanti fell into her mother's arms. Inside the chapel, the woman told her of years in captivity, of blindness, of waiting. "Your brother," she said softly. "Taken east, but the land remembers what men forget. If he still breathes, the wind will carry him to you." Robert stood in the doorway, silent. He handed Kanti the ledger. "You found what you came for," she said. "Not forgiveness," he replied. "Just the courage to live without it." She smiled faintly. "Then maybe that's forgiveness." Days passed in peace. Robert repaired the mission's bell and fences. Kanti gathered herbs with her mother, laughter returning like rain after drought. In the evenings, she sat by his forge as he worked, the rhythm of hammer and flame steady once more. One night, she read from her journal, "Not everyone we seek still waits ahead, but the road is lighter when someone walks beside you." She looked at him. "You taught me that." Robert smiled. "Then I finally built something worth keeping." A week later, by the river behind the mission, she watched the morning light shimmer on the water, the same light that once burned her world. Robert was hammering a horseshoe. She stepped toward him. "Remember what I said in Dry Hollow?" "That I'd regret buying you," he said with a half-smile, "and that I'd never obey you. You haven't." She reached into her satchel, placed 2 silver coins on his anvil. "Then I'm paying you back for the fire you stopped, the road you shared." He touched her hand. "You don't owe me." "We know," she said softly. "That's why it matters." The evening sky burned red over the Davis Mountains. "When people see scars," she said, "they think of pain. But the land has them too, and it still breathes." He nodded. "The scars mean it lived." She smiled. "Then so do we." Flee. The sun slipped behind the peaks, setting the river on fire. This time the flames were not of destruction, but of peace. And for the first time since Dry Hollow, both of them let it burn.